going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the German Bear Podcast. And today I want to talk about a possible trade target for the Chicago Bears and what he could bring to the Bears defense in edge rusher Chase Young. And today will be all about the possibility of the Chicago Bears adding edge rusher Chase Young. Things heated up yesterday a bit with Ryan Poles mentioning, quote, there are some options, potentially trade options after a question regarding the Bears adding to the edge rusher position. So I think that's some huge news that the Chicago Bears are trying to acquire some players. Now, obviously, we don't know who they are trying to get, but Chase Young is one of the best options that could potentially be traded on the market. And I want to talk about him today, talk about what he could bring to the Bears as well, with a little game film as well, some all-22 that we want to look at. But overall, I think he's an excellent player that the Bears could add that obviously has some risks that you have to account for as well. But when we want to start off talking about Chase Young, for his current contract, he's still under his rookie deal, but the Washington Commanders declined his fifth-year option. That's why the possibility is there that Chase Young could be traded. They maybe want to get something out of him at least with not having him for the future years, obviously, so they try possibly a trade, and Chicago definitely has the assets to get something done. Now, for the trade value that I want to see, first of all, I don't want to see the Bears trade a first-round pick. I think that would be definitely an overpay because of the injury history that Chase Young has, but the highest they should go should definitely be a second-round pick. Maybe a deal could include multiple second-round picks, or maybe a second and a future third-round pick, but like I said, second round pick is the highest I would personally go in order for it not to be a overpay overall. But with that being said, I think that's definitely a possibility, and I want to talk about Chase Young a bit, what he could, like I said, potentially bring to the Chicago Bears. When we look at him overall, he's only 24 years young still, born on April 14th, so he just turned 24 a couple of weeks ago. He's a 6'5", 264-pound edge rusher that was drafted with the second overall pick in the 2020 draft. I think just behind Joe Burrow. I think that was a 2020 draft. And it's just such a talented edge rusher. Like, for real, one of the most talented edge rushers that left the draft over the last 10 years maybe. Like, he's on the level of a Myles Garrett from a prospect perspective. And he started off really well in his rookie season in 2020, made the Pro Bowl right away and got the AP Defensive Rookie of the Year honors as well that year. He started in 15 games and had 4 pass deflections, 4 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, 7.5 sacks, and 44 overall combined tackles with 10 TFLs and 12 quarterback hits. So he started off just as everybody expected him to, and then 2021, his injuries started to happen after 9 games. I think he had a torn ACL, and in that year, started in 9 games before the injury, had 2 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, 1.5 sacks, 26 tackles overall, but overall, for those 2 years, 2021 and 2022, he had some injury issues and couldn't stay healthy on the field. So this is obviously the huge risk that you take on with Chase Young. He played in the last 3 games of 2022 and started in 2 of those, had 1 pass deflection, 5 tackles overall, and 1 quarterback hit. So the production over the last 2 years is not really fair, I think, to judge him by that, because he had to suffer through some injuries and just had a tough time recovering from those. But I can tell you that right away, he definitely still looked explosive in 2022, looking at the last 3 games that he played that year. So from a statistical standpoint, it's tough to justify a trade for him. But I mean, trust me, Chase Young is one heck of a talent that you can add to your team. And like I said, still only 24 years old. And with that being said, I quickly want to get into his tape and what I saw on tape and what I like from him. And I think the first thing that really pops off of tape is his explosiveness. I'm going mostly off of 2020 tape, but like I said, 2022 looked pretty solid as well. But explosiveness and timing off the snap is absolutely phenomenal. Then we're talking about a guy that's super strong as well. Like, he will get into your chest and drive you backwards. His speed and bend around the corner is phenomenal as well. He will get you in some situations with a speed rush as well. And then what I absolutely love about him is his hand placement. There's some one-arm bull rush clutch wins against, for example, Ryan Ramczyk of the New Orleans Saints, where he just got access to the chest with one arm, just drove him back into almost a quarterback, and then separated in the last second and got Jameis Winston for the sack. Also, overall, his variety of rush moves that he already possesses is phenomenal too. Like, he can win with speed to power. He can bend around the edge. He will get a club move, whatever, a hop swipe move, whatever it is, but he can work the offensive line all day long and attack them with various rush moves, which I love. Then also on tape, you see his intelligence too. Like, he is a very smart player in my opinion. He doesn't get fooled by play action or QB reads, whatever. He plays the runs, fits really well. I thought overall on tape he looked outstanding against the run, has really good gap understanding, and is a very gap sound player too. And then also, if he doesn't win that one-on-one battle with an offensive lineman, he still tries to bat down the pass. So the play after the play is also phenomenal as well with him. And then the biggest thing for me as well, which I would personally love to see in Chicago, is just he is a guy that will knock the ball out and generate fumbles, and he's just a guy that's always there for some big plays. Just one play that I remember too on tape, which was against the Dallas Cowboys against Jason Peters, and he had running back help, and it was basically a double block on him, and he just spun out of that block and beat both of them for a sack on, I think it was Andy Dalton back then in 2020 where Dak was injured. But that was a big play I can remember, and overall against the run, he was very stout as well, just from the backside as a backside defender, played it really well on the reads, but also his backside pursuit. He looked so fast and explosive. And overall, if the Bears are able to get in Chase Young, I think that would be a massive get for this team. Like I said, you have to play it smart and not overpay for him. But if you get him and he stays healthy for, let's say, 8 to 10 years down the stretch and is one of the best pass rushers the Bears have ever seen, I think nobody will be mad about that at all. And like I said, I think Chase Young, the sky's the limit with him. He's definitely, if he's healthy and has a good system around him, a defensive player of the year candidate. It sounds crazy, but talent-wise, he is that good. Like I said, it's just all a matter of him being healthy, and hopefully he covered well or is healthy now out of that ACL tear and is just ready to go again. But like I said, by the end of 2022, he looked still very explosive for the last 3 weeks of that season. So I'm not too worried about it. There is a risk about it, but if you can get him, I think that's a massive dub and a huge boost and increase for the edge rusher position. Already made a video about the available edge rushers in free agency so far, which I like some options as well, but I think Chase Young is on a way higher level than all of those guys, so he would be the massive get and a huge addition to the Bears defense. But it will be just a matter of time where we will find out if this is a possible scenario or not. But with that being said, that's the end of the episode, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Definitely let me know in the comments down below what you think of a potential trade scenario for a edge and potentially getting Chase Young here to Chicago, adding him to that young edge rusher rotation for the Bears defense. Like and subscribe if you liked the video. Check out Instagram and Twitter if you want to as well. And as always, guys, bear down.